Markets bouncing back after Friday's drop. Joining us now, Tom Lee, head of research at Fundstrat Global Advisors and Fundstrat Capital CIO. Tom, just summarizing what your thoughts are this morning. I don't see a whole lot that has shaken your confidence that the market's headed up. You still see 7,000 on the S&P by year end. You do point out it's not cheap, up 36% since the April lows. You do outline some headwinds, but I think you're outlining more positives than negatives for the markets, even right now.
Yeah, in fact, I think JP Morgan's announcement today really ties into why investors should stay pretty constructive on the U.S. I mean, JP Morgan, the biggest and the most powerful bank in the world, is investing $1.5 trillion into the U.S., into things that are going to strengthen sort of U.S. advantages, critically important areas. And at a time when the U.S. is dominating AI, and of course now we have this big tailwind as blockchain is an initiative that Wall Street is building products on. So I think there's a lot of reasons for investors to stay optimistic. And I know there's a lot of talk about bubbles, but I think the thing I would just continue to point out is NVIDIA trades at around 27 times forward earnings. It's still on a PE basis cheaper than Walmart and Costco, which trade at around 47 and 34 times forward earnings.
Yeah, you've got positive reasons to think that earnings are going to do well in a time when interest rates are coming down. So that's just like an elixir for stocks that is very powerful.
That's right. And as you know, CEOs have not been that confident for the last 2.5 years because the Fed's been running tight monetary policy. The ISM's been below 50 for 31 months now. That's the longest stretch in history. I think the sell-off Friday is giving us a bit of a gift because that surge in the VIX, a 32% rise, is the 39th highest ever one-day surge. And the 1-month median return is almost 3%. Of the 38 other instances. So I think the S&P could add, 200 points between today and mid-November.
Still got, we're not overly positive in terms of sentiment right now, so that's not late cycle according to you at this point. And still a hated rally, $7 trillion on the sidelines if people decide they want to go into stocks.
Yeah. I think conviction is a measure of whether or not the market is, pricing in too much good news. I think with Friday's sell-off, I saw many people calling the top of the markets or declaring that the bubble is bursting, or that, this is the reason to be buying gold. And if investors are that quick to call a top just on a 2.7% decline, I just think a lot of good news isn't really priced in. I think there's still a lot of reluctant investors on the sidelines.
You have found a kind of everything's about crypto. You found a reason gold's up, and it's because of crypto. Not directly because of crypto, but you think the incremental buyer in gold there's gold-based stable coins, and people need to buy gold to back the stable coins. And you think that's enough to be up $92 all the way up to a new high?
Well, there is an interesting correlation we found, which is when I look at Tether's supply of dollars outstanding, it really started to rise about 3 months ago, and that corresponded with gold essentially going up every day. I'm not positive of this, but I think stablecoins, including Tether, may be one of the largest buyers of gold today.
That's perfect. So the people that have been bullish on gold for so long and bearish on crypto and Bitcoin, they're finally getting their big rally in gold, and it's because of the thing they hate so much, crypto and Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's right.
That's so funny.
Tether is proving to be a good meeting ground between Bitcoiners and gold people.
Tom, can you just explain, though, to the extent we can understand it, within at least the Bitcoin world, just how much leverage there is in that system? Because I think one of the things that we were looking at Friday was the possibility, at least, that some of that selling, or maybe even a lot of that selling, came from margin calls at that time.
Andrew, there's always been a lot of leverage in crypto. I think that the volatility and leverage is what has drawn people into that space, especially when you get outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those two are generally not held on margin. I mean, there is some leverage with what they call perpetuals, but that's why they held up so well over the weekend. But this liquidation that was triggered over the last 3 days, the estimates are at least 19 billion of liquidations, but it's probably understated. It might be 4 times bigger. It's the largest since 2021. Essentially, you have to go back to FTX. I think there is a lot of leverage in the way people use this product called perpetuals, which is trading on margin, like 3x, 20x. And it lurks and it's held through collateral. People like sort of pledging something that thinks it's safe, but when the price of that collateral drops, it triggers a cascade. Right. And so I think people talk about this thing called auto deleveraging. So a lot of leverage, yes.
Can you just sort of step back and explain that again? Did you say 20 times?
Yes, there is this very popular trade in crypto called buying a perpetual, which is not necessarily buying the crypto itself, but buying a synthetic version of it with leverage. It was originally created by BitMEX many years ago, but even exchanges like Coinbase offer this as what they call like a 20x or even 50x leverage. So with 5 cents of collateral, you can buy $101 worth of a crypto. Now that's fine if someone's a really good trader, but of course, as you know, if something moves 5%, right, that collateral is lost.
I feel ignorant because I don't think I appreciated we were talking about 20 or 50x leverage. I mean, that's in a whole other realm. What percentage of the market do you think that makes up in terms of a share of what's happening here?
I think most buyers of Bitcoin and Ethereum are cash buyers because Bitcoin is $2 trillion, and you wouldn't be you'd see that much leverage if it was out there. But for the active markets, I'm going to guess it's 5% of all trading is with perpetuals, but as you know, that's a lot of volatility, and it's triggers what we call collateral cascades, and that's what happened over the weekend.
Does that worry you, Tom?
Oh, yes. As you know, Warren Buffett has said, derivatives are the weapons of economic mass destruction. There's a lot of leverage both in the traditional financial world with structured notes and equity derivatives and private credit, and there's a corresponding system that exists in crypto. But I think that's why most people who own crypto should view these events as a lesson in leverage, number one, but two, as we know, volatility like this really gives an advantage to an investor because someone got a chance to buy Bitcoin at 107,000 and Ethereum at 3,600, and Ethereum's back to 4,200 now.
So how do you protect yourself? Do you have leverage? And what would you suggest to other investors who are watching right now?
Well, as a first principle, BitMine, which is the largest holder of Ethereum in the world, doesn't use any leverage. It's a fortress balance sheet, taking a page from Jamie Dimon's playbook. Large holders have a responsibility to have a super clean balance sheet, and that's a first principle of BitMine. I think most people I know in crypto do not use leverage because they've lived through those systematic drawdowns. So I think most people who have a lot of experience avoid leverage.
Right. And we got to go. You point out we're not getting any economic data, but there's other places to get some of it. And at this point, the shutdown is probably, friendly for inflation and not great for employment. So the Fed, there's no reason for the Fed, not if they're going to ease, there's no reason from the shutdown that makes it more likely to continue with that cycle, I think is your point.
Yeah, Fed Chair Powell speaks this week, and I think that he's going to lean dovish.
Okay. All right, Tom. Thank you.
Hey, I'm George. This is Blue Cloud Trading, and we just saw Tom Lee on an episode of Squawk Box earlier this morning. It's Monday. It's October 13th, 11:01 a.m. as I'm recording this video. You can see the markets, how they're performing today. A big change from Friday. They're up. Dow Jones is up 0.96%. The NASDAQ is up 1.52%. S&P 500 up 1.15%, and the Russell 2000 is up the most, 1.91% so far. You can see here that price has kind of stalling. It seems to be almost creating a little bit of a pattern here. So we'll see what happens if it gets under these lows here, under the lows of the opening prices. We could see a drop a bit, but right now it's still holding up. In this video, we're going to be covering the following things. We're going to go over the stocks some of the stocks and ETFs, actually ETFs mostly, that were discussed on the show on Squawk Box. We're going to look at gold. We're going to look at silver, Ethereum, Bitcoin ETF, BMNR, Bitmine. That's the company that Tom Lee was appointed chairman of, focusing on Ethereum-centric treasury, similar to the MicroStrategy of Ethereum. I'm sorry, aiming to become the MicroStrategy of Ethereum. So it's kind of similar to MicroStrategy, all right, which is focused more on Bitcoin. And then you've got GRNY is the ticker symbol for Granny Shots, U.S. large cap ETF. That's also one of Tom Lee's ETFs, and that's been doing okay, as you can see here. We're going to look at all that, and then just a quick note: I did put out a members-only video actually earlier today, and you can find it right here. If you go to my page, Blue Cloud Trading, 34 minutes ago, exclusive member-only video, weekend update on the trades I placed throughout the week, plus new stock ideas for the upcoming week that are setting up. So definitely check that out. You can find that right there. If you scroll down, you can see member-only videos. And remember to subscribe, hit that notification bell, share this video with someone that might be interested in learning a little bit more about trading. What we're going to do here, folks, is we're going to use the Ichimoku indicator, and that's going to help us identify what's really happening in these markets, all right? A couple of other things I want to just show you is the heat map real quick. Here's the individual stocks within the S&P 500. Broadcom is up 9.61 today. Look at that. So far, 9.56 is changing. NVIDIA up 1.9. You can see a lot of the semiconductor stocks are doing well. Financials are doing pretty well. Basic materials okay. Healthcare is mixed, and household tobacco, packaging, confections and beverages are doing pretty bad here. Consumer defensive stocks, energy stocks doing well. So let's look at the sectors real quick. Yeah, you can see here basic materials is the top performer today, up 2.98%. Technology is next, and consumer cyclical, followed by energy, industrials, communication services, and the one that's down the most, consumer defensive, once again. It's been the laggard quite a bit. So, okay, let's get into the stocks they talked about. I'm going to start off actually with the SPY ETF. I want just to show you guys what's happening. This is the weekly chart. We can see that we're still holding up above the moving averages. Now, this indicator, the Ichimoku, it consists of 5 lines, all right? So the green line that you see here is the Tenkan-sen. That's the midpoint, the highs, lows of each of the last 9 periods, in this case 9 weeks, divided by 2. So it takes that midpoint and then it plots it right there, right under the most recent candle. You got the Kijun-sen, that's the 26 period. So that's taking the highs, lows divided by, 2, and it's giving you the midpoint of the last 26 periods. So it's a little bit more, it's a little slower. We always want that green line to be above the red line. We want price to be above both of those moving averages. The next element of this indicator, see if I can, there we go, let's get rid of those lines for a second, is the Senkou Span A. Okay, the Senkou Span A is that light colored blue line. If you just look on the chart and you see where the green line is, the 9 period and the 26 period, and you calculate, where that is, and then divide that and look for the midpoint, that's where you will find this projected 26 periods into the future. So that's a future bullish cloud when the Senkou Span A is above the Senkou Span B. And the Senkou Span B is calculated by taking the highs and lows of the last 52 periods, but instead of projecting it under the candle, like in these cases, it projects it out 26 periods into the future. Very unique Japanese indicator, which was incepted in the 1930s, published in the late 1960s, and then became basically popularized here in the United States in the 80s. And a lot of financial institutions do use this indicator. So this is the weekly chart. it's important to look at two different time frames. I like to look at the weekly and the daily, so I can get I want to get that long-term, sort of like far out, extended sort of picture of where the market seems to be going week after week. And you can see it's been in a bull run here. Once it broke above the cloud here back on May 2nd, right? It's moved up 17.18%. So we've had a nice run here. And it's not like it's going parabolic or anything like that. It's been pretty consistent. It's been in a nice 45-degree angle here on the weekly chart. Here's a daily chart. Same thing here. You can see that it's pretty steady. It's not like this thing is going out of control. But with that said, we've had a few instances where things started to look a little bit bearish in the past. And I'm going to show you right here where price, for example, got under the Tenkan, came down, found support at the 26 period and bounced. Same thing happened here. The only difference is it closed under the 26 for one day back here. Okay, what day was that? That was on August 1st. And then it bounced and continued. It came over here, broke under, found support at the Kijun-sen around August 21st. Then again on September 2nd. And here's something that's unique and different about last week on the daily chart is the size of the candle. That's a lot of heavy selling that took place after the announcement about the tariffs on China. This could potentially lead to the pullback, to the the long-awaited pullback that we've been waiting for. It might come back down to the next level of support, which is the cloud itself. Right now, just looking at this on a daily chart, we're still under. If you see here, we're still under the Tenkan and Kijun-sen. We're up 1.06%. But the technicals right now are looking pretty weak, honestly. It's not like super bullish. Another thing, another indicator I like to use is the directional movement index. I've got it at a setting of 9. And then I've got the ADX 9 superimposed on top of that. So let me explain this one. So when the red line, for example, is above the green line, that's bearish. When the white line is moving up, that represents momentum is increasing. And if the red line happens to be above the green line while that's moving up, that's actually kind of bearish. So you can see the momentum here was quite a bit here on Friday. Look at that volume bar, twice the volume of Thursday's bar. And here we are on Monday so far. It's not like we're getting a huge buy up. What happened was price just gapped up, and now it's almost like it's stalling at the Tenkan. You can see that little doji. We'll see where we end up by the end of the day, right? But currently it's 11:08, 11:09 a.m. You can see the timer right here as I'm giving you this information. How about the QQQ ETF? Similar situation, right? Double the volume on Friday than over Thursday. Closed under here. Now it looks like the buyers stepped in. Maybe they think that this is just a quick little pullback, and we might see basically a move back up. Now Tom Lee on the show, he said the sell-off Friday is giving us a bit of a gift. Hopefully it's a gift. We'll see, right? We have to wait and see. This is not conclusive quite yet. And the Qs are up 1.59% so far. This is not a bullish candle that you see right here. This is a reversal type candle. Let's take a look at this a little bit on a shorter time frame. Let's go. We don't have to necessarily stay with the daily chart here. Let's take a look at the 3-minute. Here we are on a 3-minute chart. Here we are, October 13th. Okay, so this is where we were at 4 p.m. That dotted red line was the closing price on Friday. And then we opened up here, the dotted green line. We're currently under the opening price right now at 11:10 a.m. All right, so that's not particularly bullish. We're under the moving averages on a 3-minute. How about the 5-minute? We're inside the cloud right now on a 5-minute, okay? So just keep that in mind. All right, let's look at some of the other things like the Dow, DIA ETF. Big drop in this one too. Negative DI, crossed above the positive DI. That happened on Friday. And now we're getting this nice bullish candle here. This could turn into something very bullish, folks. It could. We've got a bullish harami pattern right there. And so let me show you guys what that looks like on the candle pattern reference sheet. It's when you have two candles, sorry. And this is what it looks like, is you got that big red candle and followed by a small bullish candle. Okay, harami stands for pregnant. So there's the large body, small body. And that's what we've got here, essentially. At least for now. This day has not closed yet. We still need to figure out where we're going. I'm just giving you a quick update. Russell 2000, same situation. Okay, Another bullish harami there, up 2.11% right now. The VIX, which represents volatility in the markets, it's down 6.23%, but it looks like it's kind of starting to edge back up again. If we look at the 5-minute chart today, right now. So yeah, it did drop, and it seems to have found a little bit of support here at the cloud and starting to maybe potentially move back up again. It's above the opening price, right? What about, and at a level of 20.34, on Friday, we actually broke through the Ichimoku cloud. So that was a big jump, and we're still holding above the 200-day moving average. This is not really conducive to a bullish market when you've got the VIX spiking like that. We do need to see things kind of drop a little bit. The ADX is going straight up here with the directional movement index on the VIX. All right, now FEZ, that's the Euro stocks. Let's look at that one. That one dropped on Friday as well, closed under the Kijinsen, and we've got a bullish harami as well here. So that might turn into something. By the end of the day, who knows? We might get under the low, the lows here of Friday. You never know. So we'll be watching that. And then we've got the stocks here like gold, on the other hand, where people tend to go when things start to be, a little bit shaky. Why is gold, spiking here, 2.15%, right? So people are still looking at gold as a defense mechanism to protect their portfolios. It's been moving up quite a bit. You can see here, back over here on August 22nd, when price got above the cloud, it's moved up 21.13% since that date. Very steady uptrend on the daily chart. Here's a weekly chart. Look at that. Does it look a little bit extended? It does. But when there's demand in anything, it's gonna get that way, right? And we can't really pinpoint exactly when everything starts to fall apart. I mean, the chart will tell us, that's for sure. But I can't tell you that tomorrow this gold is going to start dropping. Right now, it's still in a strong uptrend. Silver, here's silver, also on the weekly chart. Look at that. The volume also is corroborating this move. If you look down below here, you see the volume bars. They're moving steadily up, okay? And the ADX is still moving up as well. So that's important to keep in mind. All right, let's take a look at BMNR. That's the Bitmine Immersion Technologies stock. Again, that is, let me go back to the, there we go. So BMNR, like I mentioned earlier, right, pivoted to focus on building an Ethereum-centric treasury, aiming to become the MicroStrategy of Ethereum. So BMNR sideways action since August 8th. Hasn't really moved much. It's been moving, we had this circled candle is the date where Tom Lee was appointed chairman of Bitmine. Had a big spike, dropped, stayed around the same, around that level there, around $32, and now it's up around $53. But it's kind of just going sideways. It's in consolidation right now. That's the daily chart, and here's the weekly chart. Granny, which is the GRNY ETF, broke out of the consolidation box on the weekly chart on September 12th. Let's see what this looks like on the daily chart. All right, we got ourselves a bullish harami here. This might get bullish more later today, but right now it is up 1.9%. It seems to be just kind of stalling. It's not really moving much. Here's the 5-minute chart, or 3 minutes, sorry. So here we have the gap up, and on the 3-minute you can see how it's stalled at the 200-day on the 3-minute chart, and then pulled back, creating a lower high right there and a lower low. We haven't taken out that high yet, and we haven't gotten above the 200-day moving average. So GRNY is not something I would be buying today, for example. ETH, Ethereum, under the 200-day. So, that's a 3-minute chart that we're looking at right now. So it's still under the 200-day on the 3-minute. It's above the cloud. Let's look at the daily chart. Here it is on the daily inside the Ichimoku cloud. So one of the rules, again, is like you don't want to be adding positions, new positions, if price is inside the cloud. If you see the, oh, by the way, I forgot to mention the Chiku span. That's the white line right there, is the closing price, right? Or the current price in this case, because right now the market's still moving. So the current price projected 26 periods ago projects in a line form, okay? If that white line is under the candle 26 periods ago, that's bearish. So this is not looking great here for Ethereum. It's not like super bearish. I think I would say that we're just basically in no man's land here. It's just kind of like consolidating in this box. That's it. Once we break through in the future, it's got potential, but right now I wouldn't be jumping into this one. What about Bitcoin? And that, by the way, this Ethereum is up 3.3% or almost 3.27. Bitcoin IBIT has pulled back today. So the IBIT ETF, which is a way for you to buy Bitcoin or have some exposure to Bitcoin in your portfolio, down 1.96%. It's pulled back since this little spinning top reversal candle. And from that point right there, it's dropped about almost 9%. Finding support at the cloud. So it might bounce here. That's the daily chart, and here's the weekly chart under the 9 period as well. So it's not looking ultra bullish here yet. We'll see what happens. And I think that's going to do it for this video. We're going to keep this pretty short. Doesn't have to be a very long video. Again, if you guys like the content that I bring to you, don't forget to hit that like button. It does help, get that algorithm out. Also, 2 ways you can join to get access to the member-only videos that I post. If you click here on the join button, this will pop up. Same thing will happen if you click on this link. There it is. And there's 3 different levels. If you want to get access to those member-only videos, you do have to be a Blue Cloud trader or Blue Cloud Legend level member. If you want to support the channel, I do appreciate all of you guys for supporting the channel here. So under Blue Cloud Trader, you'll be able to access those exclusive member-only videos, right? Under Blue Cloud Legend, you'll also get daily trade updates that I post. And I post them next to the post section. There will be a new tab that pops up called Membership. That's where you will find them, okay? If you want to see, if you like the software that I'm using, it's called TC2000. It's this right here. Let me show you something about that real quick. If you click on 9 more links right next to that join button or join link, find out a little bit about my channel, scroll down a little bit here. There's a whole bunch of links here. This is where you can get a $25 coupon for TC2000. You just click on this link here. If you have Windows, okay, it will run. If you have a Mac, okay, you do need to download Parallels to run the software. There's also a web-based version which you can just run off any platform, but it's a little bit slower. All right, it's not as broad as far as what you can do with it also. So I'd recommend, if you have a Mac, definitely download Parallels, get Parallels, and then download this software for TC2000. You add your email here, and you can see you will receive $25 coupon towards your TC2000, courtesy of Blue Cloud Trading. Please note your email will be shared. To be eligible for the coupon, you must not have had TC2000 service in the last 12 months. That's key. Here's the pricing right here. Software plans and data. All right. If you do annually, it's like $20 a month for the basic, $41.65 for the premium. I recommend the premium. You will not be able to draw on the charts with the basic. So if you go back to that links section, you'll also find here this link right here. After you've downloaded the software, you can get the chart layout that looks exactly like mine by clicking on that link right there. If you want to get the cheat sheet for the chart candle patterns, you can find it at x.com/bluecloudtrader. Click that link. I also have videos on Patreon. You may want to check that out. Here's an interesting new affiliate, wise.com. I don't know if some of you guys do a little bit of traveling. I certainly like to travel, and sometimes I like to travel overseas. This is a great way to, as you can see here, once you click on that link, Georgia's giving you a fee-free transfer of up to $600 US. Save when you send, receive, and spend worldwide. So you can send money to 50+ currencies fast. Free from hidden fees and exchange rate markups. Check this platform out. I use it. I like it a lot. See if we can find a little more information about this. Let me click on platform for a moment. 20-second payments, 70% of instant payments take under 20 seconds, 160 countries, 40 currencies, 70+ licenses worldwide. Real-time dependable correspondent services. All right. Connect easily with Swift or API. Remember, our banking system is very different here than it is in Europe. So yeah, this company's been around for a while, and it's very well respected. Definitely check it out. And folks, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you for watching. Appreciate all of you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video.